Here's what's happening in the city of Rockville. Meet some local animals and robots. One fourth grader could take the city's top job this spring, and the city celebrates Lunar New Year. This is all the latest news in the city. This is Rock 11 Now. Welcome to Rock 11 Now, the monthly show that recaps the most recent stories in the city of Rockville. I'm your host, Bridget Breuer. Here's what you need to know about what's happening in the city. Animals and robots took to City Hall to show Rockville 11's Jennifer Ligsay what was in store for Science Day 2013.
I'm Jennifer Ligsay, and I've got here a Lutino cockatiel. This is just one of the many things residents will be able to see at this year's Science Day. We wanted to bring a little bit of Science Day to City Hall, so Rockville Science Center's Bob Ekman recruited a few students and exhibitors to show our camera crew what this annual event is all about.
This is basically its remote control. This one makes it turn this direction. This one makes it turn the other direction.
Connor Gregory is talking about his very own robot that he competes with at local robotics tournaments. Teaching the science of robotics is one of the goals of the Rockville Science Center, according to Bob Ekman.
It's also exciting. Kids get excited and it's fun.
Well, what exactly are these robots supposed to do?
Will do exactly what you tell it to do.
This is an NXT robot that carries different functions of sorts.
There are like different competitions that you score points by doing different activities.
Well, it's fun and you can take out all of your creativity and put it into one.
I love the fact that robotics combines so many different areas of science.
It's an exciting challenge, in particular just having to build something that needs to function under its own, effectively, intelligence.
Residents can expect robots to be on display along with animal exhibits, rockets, and other hands-on activities free for the whole family. And it's all happening at the 24th Annual Rockville Science Day at Montgomery College.
So this is the kind of rocket they're actually going to fly. They're going to make them and fly them at Rockville Science Day.
One of the things that I'm particularly interested in is projects that children who have pets can put together. Could you please stay with us for a little while?
It's so much better than just sitting in a classroom and looking up at a board, because you get to have like the deep understanding of it and how like the structure works.
The exhibits at the event will showcase this year's theme, Science is Our Future.
If we're going to solve some of the problems that we have in the 21st century, we're going to need kids and adults too that understand a lot about science and a lot about engineering and technology, and we need to use that, and that's what this is all about, giving them some picture of some idea of what the future is going to be, and we need it. It's very critical to go forward with this kind of learning activity.
To learn more about this year's Science Day, visit rockvillescience.org.
Drastic swings in the temperature can cause water main breaks. That's why Director of Public Works Craig Simino keeps a close eye on the temperature, especially during the winter months. He talked with us recently about the anatomy of a water main break and how the city has a plan to respond.
Usually it's at the beginning of winter when you have a real warm to cold, but then it swings back and forth through the winter and you get spells of it and you really don't know when it's going to happen. So you really don't know what you're going to get thrown at you, and sometimes it's unexpectedly, because it's not as you might expect during the real frigid cold temperatures, because it's usually the swing of the temperature usually coming down from the warm to the cold. And unfortunately in our area we have that happen several times in a winter season. Like right now, we're standing out here and we're in the 50s and 60s temperature, but we're in the wintertime, and what's going to happen. We're going to go down from this temperature down to colder temperatures, and we might be susceptible.
Experiencing a spike of water main breaks is not uncommon during the changeover of temperatures. After being treated at the city's water treatment facility, the water taken from the Potomac River is delivered through the intricate network of pipes to reach the faucets of residences, businesses, and fire hydrants. When there's a swing in the temperatures, breaks can occur, especially in the old cast iron pipes, which are more susceptible to cracking. Rockville is a few years into its 20-year water main replacement program, which is replacing the older pipes.
The newer pipes in our system we changed to concrete-lined ductile iron. And ductile, just by its name implies, it's more flexible, it's able to give a little bit more, and much less susceptible to these type of breaks during this time of year.
Simino says if a break occurs, the city has a plan.
Just call our utility line and we will respond. If you see running water in the street and it's not raining out or something, call us. If you experience low or no water service, call us and we'll go out and check it out. We'd rather hear about it sooner and check it out so we can find and service the problem. We stay on water breaks until they're repaired. No matter when it happens, if there's a water break, we consider that a life safety issue. Not only are people's residences and businesses out of water, the fire hydrants that are serviced by that line are also out of water. And so when we get called, we stay on that break until it's repaired and service restored.
To report a break or if there's a problem with your water, call the city's Department of Public Works on their 24-hour emergency utility hotline at 240-314-8567. Rockville has more than 100 bridges that carry vehicles and pedestrians throughout the city. Maintaining these structures requires the coordination of city staff, contractors, and the patience of residents. Our Chris Pfeiffer has more.
You might not know it, but this part of Monroe Street is actually a bridge. You can tell by these expansion joints, and the Monroe Street Bridge is one of the many that are part of the Rockville Bridge Rehabilitation Project. When it comes to bridge repair, civil engineer John Holliday knows proactive action is the best strategy.
Our plan is to address the minor maintenance items that we see, and if we stay on top of all the minor repairs, that prevents us from having to do major repairs down the road. So as long as you take care of the bridge, seal the cracks, repair any minor defects it may have, that'll prevent us from having to replace large pieces or large parts of the structure in the future. One of the maintenance items we have for this bridge is the repair of these light cans here. A few years ago, we pulled these out and sealed them up with concrete. So what we're left with is these light cans over here. There's leakage down around these lights. These lights don't actually work, but the leakage gets down into the superstructure of the bridge below us, and then the water and the salt associated with it ends up corroding that steel and ends up deteriorating it. So our goal is to remove these light cans, seal them as we did here, and then make structural repairs to the beam below.
Holliday took us below the bridge to show us exactly what needs to be done.
Above me is the expansion joint that's located within Monroe Street, and there's active leaking going on in that joint, as evident by the moisture here on the ground. We need to remove that joint and replace it to seal that water and keep that water from coming down into the service area.
What makes this bridge unique is its non-traditional nature because it serves as a storage and loading area for the county and the Regal Road merchants.
There are all kinds of types of bridges that are within the city of Rockville. Most people consider a bridge, or they think of a bridge as a bridge that conveys traffic over a highway, but there's also pipes under the roads that you may not see that are considered bridges. There are metal pipes, concrete pipes that are considered a bridge that we maintain and inspect. But we also inspect and maintain the large span bridges, which are the large structures that convey traffic over, like I-270, for example. There are a few structures like we're going to see on Goody Drive.
The West Goody Drive Bridge is different in terms of appearance, but does have similarities to the Monroe Street Bridge.
The bridge, in essence, is very similar. It has a concrete deck. It has a steel beam superstructure and then concrete abutments or a concrete substructure. So it's very similar from a technical standpoint. Just visually it looks different because you have an interstate going underneath it versus a loading dock or a service corridor for Monroe Street.
The West Goody Drive Bridge is considered a long span bridge and is frequently inspected.
Well, West Goody Drive is one of our 18 long span bridges. The bridge gets inspected every 2 years, and we have an inspection report that noted some repair items to be addressed. We have an expansion joint to repair. The expansion joint is leaked down below into the superstructure, which has corroded some of the insulation around a water line under the bridge. There's also some concrete repairs around that we need to repair as well.
Holliday wants the city to know that its infrastructure is being maintained.
Rockville's bridges in general are in good condition. There are maintenance items we need to take care of, and as long as we can get in and take care of the minor maintenance, that'll prevent us from having to do some of the major items as far as steel beam replacement or other large-scale activity.
For more information on the Rockville Bridge Rehabilitation Program, go online to rockvillemd.gov and search bridge.
Rockville is known as a city of neighborhoods, each with their own history and features. Peerless Rockville, the nonprofit organization focused on preservation in the city, is launching a new interactive series this spring. Jennifer Ligsay takes us on a walk through Rockville's recent past with author Teresa Lakeen.
Last September, we learned about Peerless historian Teresa Lakeen's publication, Rockville's Recent Past. Now, her book is the genesis for a new series this spring that could feature your own neighborhood. Rockville's Recent Past is now coming off of the pages of a published book into an interactive series of presentations and walking tours, and author Lakeen couldn't be more thrilled.
It's what we all hoped and dreamed would happen, that we would not only have a chance to do the research and to publish a book, but also to make it relevant to the community.
While the book focuses on buildings, sites, and neighborhoods in Rockville from the mid-20th century to today, the series takes it a step further.
We're drawing on scholars, Isabel Grenay from the University of Maryland and Richard Longstreth, as well as Joan Zenzen, and other people who are familiar with Rockville and have done research on Rockville. But the series really was a way of thinking about these neighborhoods within the broader context of what was going on in Rockville in terms of government, in terms of education, in terms of buildings of churches and institutional buildings.
Lakeen hopes that the Recent Past series will not just generate an interest in local history, but also serve as a way for her publication to continue to write itself.
We see it as an opportunity for people to participate in sort of an ongoing research initiative on the recent past. We encourage people always to share their perspectives, their memories, their experiences, photographs that they may want to share with us or show us or allow us to scan and copy for our records, and really to be a part of a broader research initiative that's very oriented toward community involvement and outreach.
So why should residents participate in the series?
To connect with Rockville history, with the leading scholars in the field who have done research, but also to connect with people who show up to participate in a discussion, to learn more about local history, and to really play a more active role as people interested in history and in community history.
The Recent Past series will be hosted by Peerless Rockville, a nonprofit that works to preserve buildings, objects, and information important to Rockville's heritage. To learn more about this series and other programs, visit peerlessrockville.org.
Attention fourth graders, do you think you have what it takes to be mayor? Well, the city of Rockville is now accepting applications to be mayor for a day for the city's annual If I Were Mayor contest.
We want to be mayor!
The fourth grade students at Falls Mead Elementary School gave an enthusiastic welcome to Mayor Phyllis Marcuccio as she promoted the annual If I Were Mayor contest. The contest, sponsored by the Maryland Municipal League and the City of Rockville, provides an opportunity for students to think about what changes they would make if they held the city's top job.
This is a really good chance to get your ideas put out there and have everybody hear about them, and some of them might actually become realities in the future.
I would say it's hard because you have to make a lot of tough decisions, and sometimes you have to sell things to get money, and which you don't want to sell.
School officials were pleased the mayor stopped by as part of her tour, getting the word out about the contest.
Oh, I'm very excited. The mayor of Rockville came to talk to our fourth grade students, and they've been studying about communities and the roles that people play in community, and it really brought it alive for them.
I know someone's going to win because they are well prepared. They are very excited about this contest, and they do think about their community and being not just the community of Falls Mead, but also the community of the school, and they're very civic minded.
And Mayor Marcuccio's take on the day?
You know, you try to pull them into the idea that they've got to think about their future. You know, when you're 10 years old, you don't think there's anything except the rest of the world, and you have no concept that other people are even thinking. It's a change of perspective to think your ideas will have an impact on somebody else. That takes a lot of doing. Most of it is still egocentric at this age.
One Rockville fourth grader will be chosen a winner this spring and will be dubbed Mayor for a Day. The honor includes lunch with the actual mayor, a tour of city facilities, and a street sign made with their name. It's an event that gets students and school officials excited about civic engagement.
Well, I think that too often people think that they're powerless. And if we start teaching them now that they have a right to be a part of their community and have a voice, then I'm hoping that when they grow up, they will take that power and become a force in the community.
For more information on the contest, go online to rockvillemd.gov and search If I Were Mayor. Welcome to this edition of Mayor and Council One-on-One. I'm joined by Councilmember Tom Moore. Tom, thanks so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
And for this month, for this segment, I know you wanted to speak about license plate readers, specifically about the data retention policy. But before we get into that, let's talk about what this piece of technology is all about.
Right. There's a new kind of camera that can be attached to police cars or put in stationary places that will record the time and location and license plate number of every car that drives by. The city of Rockville currently has 3 of these cameras attached to its police cars. Montgomery County has a much larger system, and there are plenty of these all around the state.
And has this technology been successful as far as you know with solving crimes and handling public safety?
It's a terrific law enforcement tool. It's good for, if there are warrants out for somebody, they can pull somebody over immediately. It's good if there are Amber Alerts on a car. I was speaking to somebody at the state level the other day, and they said there was someone who had Alzheimer's who had disappeared from his house, and they were able to pick him up in Pennsylvania when he drove by one of these cameras. So it can be a life-saving tool. It's a terrific police tool.
What are you trying to do with the policy? What would you like to see done?
This policy hasn't really come before the mayor and council before. It's not so much whether we should use these cameras. I think everybody agrees that these are terrific tools. It's a question of how long do we keep the data. There's a lot of difference on this. The Maryland State Police keep the data for 2 weeks. Most other police agencies in the state of Maryland keep it for a year, and that's coordinated by the State Fusion Center. Our data goes to Montgomery County, and Montgomery County has a different way of going about it. They keep it for a year, and then they archive it indefinitely. And that's a bit of a concern. And we as a city need to make a decision whether our policy will be that we want this data kept indefinitely.
So what are you proposing about this issue?
Well, we're going to do 2 things. One is we're going to have a work session with the mayor and council. That's going to be on March 11th at our regular meeting.
And then after that?
We're going to have a town hall meeting on March 20th. We want to involve residents in the conversation and get a feel for what people who live in the community think about these cameras and how long we should be tracking their whereabouts. We have pretty sophisticated equipment in our cars, and at the end of every shift, all that data syncs up to the county. That's the way it's set right now. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way, though.
If residents have questions or comments, what should they do?
Well, they can watch our meeting on March 11th. I think it's going to be very educational. We'll have a big packet of information ready for that meeting. That will be available on the city's website. And come to the meeting on March 20th. I think there's going to be a lot of good information there, and I really want to get some back and forth going on what we should do about this.
Great. Anything else you want to add on this topic?
We have to strike a balance between what the legitimate and good police use of this information is and what right do people have to not be tracked by their government wherever they go. And it's a pretty serious issue. There's not a lot that local governments can do to protect people's privacy, but this is something that we can do. So I'd like to see if it's something that we want to do.
Start making plans to celebrate everything environmental in the city for Earth Month this April. The entire month is full of activities, stream cleanups, and workshops to help educate the city on how to better the environment. Free events range from the H2O Summit, Rainscape Rewards and information sessions, and a free car inspection. For a full list of events during Earth Month, visit the city's website at rockvillemd.gov/environment. Next time you drive downtown, don't forget to check out rockvilleparking.com. Along with information about FAQs, the website provides a map that displays the public parking areas as well as metered streets. For any additional information on parking in the city, go online to rockvillemd.gov/parking. The Rockville Town Center zoning text amendment was approved at a mayor and council meeting in February. Now developers will need the approval of the Planning Commission for any development projects that would have qualified for Chief of Planning approval in the Town Center Performance District. The amendment also requires electronic notification to all civic and homeowners associations for development projects throughout the city that require Planning Commission or Mayor and Council approval. To read the text amendment, visit the city's website at rockvillemd.gov/zoning. Rockville is proud of its historic heritage, and soon the city will be officially recognized as a state heritage area. Representatives from the state recently took a tour of the city and held a public hearing where historic experts and city staff gave remarks about why Rockville should be under the Maryland Heritage Area. Montgomery County already maintains this designation. If Rockville becomes a member of the Montgomery County Heritage Area, it would not only take on the additional prestige that comes with the title, but the city would also become eligible for grants and loan assistance for development, as well as tax incentives for buildings in active tourism use. If you have any questions regarding the program or the process, go online to rockvillemd.gov and search Heritage Area. This year, Rockville hosted its 5th Lunar New Year celebration. It was an event started by the mayor and council and the city's Asian Pacific American Task Force as a way to recognize the cultural achievements of the city's Asian community. 1 in 3 Rockville residents were born outside the U.S., and 54% of the city's foreign-born population was born in Asia, according to the latest census data. Every year, the city celebrates its Asian community through the annual Lunar New Year celebration. This year welcomed the Year of the Snake, and we have the recap right here for you.
When you talk about Lunar New Year, you may think of a few groups that celebrate it traditionally. But then we wanted to make ours Pan-Asian because we wanted to say, well, everybody can join in on a celebration of the New Year.
Rockville is a unique little UN of its own.
It was a great program. We had everybody from kids to seniors doing traditional dances and songs and all kinds of stuff. It was a great show.
Well, that's no doubt. The city has been wonderful supporting the event, starting with the mayor and also the Janet Kelly, who's the liaison for the city, and they've been so supportive in putting a lot of time and efforts to make this event happen.
This really showcases our diversity. I think one of the strengths that the city has is that we come from so many different places and we still get along so well. And the whole Lunar New Year celebration all day long, from the parade this morning to this event, has just shown us just what richness that the Asian community brings to our community.
This building, of course, was packed to the gills with people. We couldn't have put any more in here if we wanted to. It was terrific, and I highly recommend it next year. Don't miss it. It's wonderful fun.
As part of our Meet Your Neighbor segment, we'd like to introduce you to Teresa Harn, who's an active resident in our community and a member of the Asian Pacific American Task Force. Our Jennifer Ligsay has more.
I'm Jennifer Ligsay, and welcome to this edition of Meet Your Neighbor. Today, we're here at King Farm to meet this Rockville resident who is an accomplished writer, dancer, and singer, and loves to share her talents with the rest of the community. On top of contributing to local Asian language newspapers, Rockville resident Teresa Harn gives back to the community with her passion in the arts.
Through dance, singing, you are happy, and people also enjoy your show. They are happy to promote the spirit of the whole community.
An active member of the Rockville Senior Center and the Cultural Arts Commission, Harn offers traditional Chinese choreography and vocal performances for various programs.
We also attend the fairs like hometown holidays to make people realize, aware there's the Asian American communities that we contribute a lot, and we also need their attention.
One of the city's major events from Rockville's Asian American communities is the annual Lunar New Year celebration. Harn began the Yellow Plum Folk Drama Club, who will perform at this year's event.
I want to introduce, besides the dance, we through fan, through ribbon, through sword. We also, like Kung Fu, we also have another kind of culture form. It's opera, but it's a folk opera. It's not American opera. The soprano, but it's more like a comedy type. So I hope they can enjoy that too.
Rockville also celebrated this year's Lunar New Year at Glenview Mansion's monthly art exhibit and Sunday afternoon concert.
All the fan dance, ribbon dance, mask dance, Tibet dance, India dance, dance of Northwest. So we have different kinds of dance to entertain the people.
And it was because of Rockville's wide range of Asian-related activities that brought Harn to live in this city.
I kind of miss my home culture, my homeland. So I noticed here you have big community, Chinese community, and the newspapers, a newspaper, probably 5 of them in Rockville City and actually in Hungerford Drive. So I said, I want to come here so I can enjoy the culture, arts, and miss my pastry, the restaurant, the many Chinese restaurants here.
Harn also gives back to the community through Rockville's Asian Pacific American Task Force, a group committed to helping Rockville become more aware of the needs of the Asian American community. Harn provides translation services to Chinese residents who need assistance.
To be able to help them understand English through my interpretation, translation, so I feel very much useful to help the community. Once I helped a couple, they have a problem with the landlord. So I come in as a mediator to solve the problem.
Through her many skills and talents, Harn is one of Rockville's residents that's all about giving back.
My goal of life is to help other people. So dedicate my life to the service to other people. Because by helping other people, you are happy and your life is worth living.
For more of Rockville's Meet Your Neighbor segments, visit the city's YouTube channel at youtube.com/City of Rockville.
Well, that's it for this March edition of Rock 11 Now. You can follow us on Twitter at Rockville11 or watch more content on YouTube by searching City of Rockville. I'm your host, Bridget Breuer, and on behalf of the whole team here, thanks for watching.